Namaskara and a warm welcome to one and all to this special talk. On behalf of Destination Heritage and the descendants of Mysore Lancers, we pay our homage to the Braveheart Cavalry, the Mysore Lancers, and salute the three eminent speakers on this platform today who will unravel the multi layers of the defining moment of World War One, its history of the Mysore Lancers, the Haifa Day, the Mysore Transport Course, etc. Today, we witnessed a very touching moment, remembering the Mysore Lancers at the memorial in RT Nagar in front of the parachute regiment while laying the wreaths. A country that forgets its war heroes or its past is dead because in the present is the past, and in turn, that lays a roadmap for the future. DH takes Destination Heritage takes pride that we were responsible, along with Her Excellency Dana Krush, the Consul General for Israel South India, who was stationed in Bengaluru last year, to start this commemorative celebration and continuing in its second year with the unstinted support of the descendants of the Mysore Lancers, our beloved police commissioner then and today ADGP Internal Security, and Ms. Sri Raja Chandra from the royal family. The Mysore Lancers Memorial has on its four sides 25 names of the soldiers who died fighting this brave war, and it includes the names of two officers and the remaining being soldiers. I take pride in calling out their names. A. Lingaraja Ars and Mir Ashraf Ali, who were the officers. The soldiers were Venkatrao Mane, Annaji Dumal, Raghunath Rao Barji, Muhammad Abdul Sattar, Nur Singh, Muhammad Peer Khan, Rahimon Khan, Ganpati Rao Shinde, Rama Rao Gaikwad, Manadeva Rao Bobde, Sheikh Ibrahim, Sham Singh, Roya Sundaram, Chithambaram Rao Itape, and Mir Abdul Latif. We pay our homage to all these braveheart soldiers. September 23rd is commemorated every year by the army to pay its respects to the Indian cavalry regiments of the Mysore, Jodhpur, and the Nizam or the Hyderabad Lancers who helped in liberating Haifa in Israel after a very brave cavalry action. The Indian soldiers were armed only with lances and swords against the sophisticated artillery of the Ottoman Turks, aided by the Germans. The Mysore Lancers, who were the personal army of the erstwhile Maharaja, played a crucial role in winning the Haifa War. Even as the 102nd anniversary of the battle is being celebrated, not many outside the army are aware of the Karnataka connection, the Mysore, and the Bangalore connections too. Though 1.4 million Indian troops are recorded to have fought in World War One for the British, the participation of troops from the Mysore kingdom is forgotten from the public memory. The battle is one of the last cavalry charges that resulted in a victory in a modern war. By the end of World War One, horses had become redundant in wars. When Mysore Lancers saved the city in 1918, they ended the Ottoman Empire's 400-year-long rule over the region. While remaining unknown in their own country, some Indian soldiers are household names in Haifa in northern Israel after figuring in the school history textbooks for third and fifth standard. It is in this connection that a talk bringing various facets of the decisive war will be meaningful and our tribute to the Mysore Lancers. Our first speaker is Sri Bhaskar Rao, who is an Indian Police Service officer of 1990 Karnataka cadre. Joining as Superintendent of Police, he rose to the rank of ADGP Internal Security, a highly decorated officer. He was awarded with President's Police Medal for Meritorious Service in 2008, President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service in 2015, United Nations Medal for the service rendered in international peacekeeping in war zone Kosovo, Yugoslavia 2000. Sri Bhaskar Rao was closely associated with the protection of foreign companies in the aftermath of 9/11 attacks in the US while he was Superintendent of Police, Bangalore Rural District. As Managing Director of Kionics, Karnataka State Electronics Development Corporation Limited, he initiated several innovative schemes. He was Director Operations in KSRTC at a time when the organization was metamorphosing into a corporate organization. He served as Transport Commissioner, Government of Karnataka, bringing in state-of-art technology innovations, resulting in two-fold increase in the revenues. As Inspector General of Police Internal Security, he was instrumental in creating Karnataka State Industrial Security Force and laying the foundation to streamline and strengthen 4.60 lakh private security personnel and 1,500 private security agencies all over Karnataka. Under his leadership, the Coastal Security Police was strengthened by having excellent collaboration with Indian Navy, Coast Guard, and Goa Shipyard. Sri Bhaskarrao also served as Commissioner of Police, Mysore City, Inspector General of Police of several verticals like anti-terror, Central Range, Railways, Training, Forest, Commissioner of Police, Belgaum City, and Northern Range. And he served as Additional Director General of Police, Karnataka State Reserve Police. His previous posting as Commissioner of Police saw him being proactive towards Bengaluru's heritage preservation and was a very popular top cop. Innovation, change, dynamism, strengthening, and empowering the bottom of the pyramid are his professional management passion and core strength. He is a fitness enthusiast, and of a long distance cycling is his favorite pastime. It is a privilege to have you on our platform, sir, and a warm welcome to you. He will now share his thoughts on Mysore Lancers and Haifa, from liberation to celebration. The forum is all yours for the next 20 minutes. Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you so much, Geeta Madam, for this opportunity that you have created. And it's a great privilege to be here on this panel and to share my thoughts. I got associated with the celebrations when I was Additional Director General of Police of the Karnataka State Reserve Police. And when I saw the Honorable Prime Minister of India visiting Israel to pay homage to the Indian soldiers, later on, I saw the release of the book by Shri Raviji, which was subsequently translated into Kannada by the name Bichibutti, which made a mention of the Mysore Lancers. Because as a child, I used to hear about my great-grandfather, Haravalli Singmasmurti, who had been to Israel and was a part of the great movement of 1914 to 1919, when people around Mysore city, Mysore district, that is people from Chamarajnagar, Hassan, Mandya, up to Kolar, Tumkur, Chikmagalur, Coorg, and parts of Bangalore, which was under the Madras presidency, coming together under the leadership of Nalvadi Krishraj Vadiyar, who at that point of time responded to the call of the British Empire to rise to the occasion to defend its territories far away from our homeland. All of you are already aware of the history, so I need not repeat, but briefly, what I got to know from the archives was that the Maharaja himself gave a handsome amount of money and 29 ships set sail from Bangalore, carrying a huge contingent to three different places, that is to the southern oil fields of Iran and to guard the Suez Canal's excavation, and a long part of it went to the then Israel, the land which was under the control of the Turks. This particular victory, which took place over 103 years ago, is something which all of us need to imbibe into ourselves, because it is often said that people from Karnataka have not seen a war, have not seen bloodshed, and have not shown valor. History knows very well that this was the last cavalry battle in which the prominent role played by Jodhpur Lancers, Hyderabad Lancers, and Mysore Lancers have been written in golden words, only to be read now. All along, it was dusted and kept away in history books. It's unfortunate that we do not read this in any of our college textbooks or school textbooks. Children would have been vastly been inspired by this. The Battle of Haifa, for which the Mysore Lancers were responsible largely for its victory, it went on, which lasted for over 15 days, in which Hyderabad Lancers were kept at a distance to guard the prisoners of war. The Jodhpur Lancers and the Mysore Lancers played a very, very vital role. Charging below the Mount Caramal in absolutely inhospitable terrain, the Mysore Lancers entered the city of Haifa and took prisoners from the German occupants as well as the Turks. They released the venerable and respected Abdul Baha, who was imprisoned by the Turks. This led to the rekindling of the Bahaya movement, for which the present chief Nazneen Rouhani, who is based in Delhi, our association, that is the Police Department Association, is very, very interesting. After the victory at Haifa, the forces were sent for the Battle of Aleppo. There also, after having seen victory, the Haifa warriors were felicitated by the King of Yugoslavia and by a number of European kings and principalities who thought that the Turks were absolutely invincible. This broke the myth that a bold, heroic effort by a committed army can do anything. All along, it was only thought that Indians are only good soldiers, they cannot be good officers. It proved beyond doubt the leadership of Colonel Deshraj Ars, under whose leadership the entire force entered Haifa. We don't have much documentation of what happened in Mesopotamia as well as the Suez Canal, around the Suez Canal. But definitely, literature is available as regards what happened at the Battle of Haifa. After the victorious battle, when the troops returned to Mysore, they were felicitated by the Order of the Gand Berunda, and I'm sure our elder Sri Rajachandra will be able to say more about this subject. But I can only proceed to say that when the forces returned, India was still under the British regime, and the forces were under the control of the Maharaja, well appreciated by the Viceroy, the British regime, as well as the people of Mysore, who welcomed them, who welcomed the victorious army which came back from Haifa. The army of Mysore did not have to fight any more battles because it had fought a huge battle very successfully. There were no internecine battles between Mysore and other principalities, because the British were firmly well entrenched and they did not have to fight the French army or anybody else uh, whose help was taken by Tipu Sultan earlier. So by and by, the Mysore Lancers, which had established itself very well as a military force, started guarding the principalities of the Mysore state up to Kolar and beyond Kolar up to Dindigal and up to beyond Tumpur into parts of Andhra Pradesh and up to Trichinopalli also. Then, when independence came, it was decided that Mysore need not have an army. So, at that point of time, when Sardar Vallabhbhai gave a call for the merger of the princely states, the Mysore army was merged as the 61 as the 61th regiment of the cavalry of the Indian Army, and its headquarters was shifted to Jaipur. And it is a matter of great pride that the Mysore Lancers which got itself converted as 61 Cavalry, the Indian Army, still maintained its insignia, the of the double-headed eagle or the Gand Berunda, which is behind me, and now is the part of the insignia of the government of Karnataka also. So whatever remained there, the Maharaja was allowed to keep a part of it, which was strangely called the Mysore Dismounted Company. The Dismounted Company was there to guard the palace, guard the treasury, guard the temples, and guard some of the properties of the Mysore Maharaja. Then, by and by, this was merged into the Mysore Armed Reserve Police. Then from Mysore Armed Reserve Police, it became the Mysore District Police, and it was sent as far as Kolar, Bangalore, where the City Armed Reserve Police was also created. So the valor of Mysore Lancers has, it has given the DNA of bravery and valor, and at present the avatar of Mysore Lancers is the Karnataka State Reserve Police, which the fortune I had to command for almost 2.5 years, where our motto is Dhairyam Sarvatra Sadhanam. And it was not a small force. We had our DNA was very rich with battle ready experience, with an experience of having fought successful battles. Between 1990 and up to the time of independence, history has shown that the Mysore Lancers remnants, which were sent to Kolar as well as up to Gulbarga in 1956, then Gulbarga, had participated in the Hyderabad operations, in the annexation of Pondicherry and Goa liberation movement also. So the Lancers had lot of war-ready experience to give to the police also. And that is where the KSRP got enriched thoroughly. The Mysore Lancers was an extremely secular force. It had Muslims, Marathas, Anglo-Indians, Christians, Brahmins, Vokkaligas, and a whole lot of other communities which are spread widely around the Mysore Principality, including the people from Coorg also, and Bhatiyas from Tumkur as well as Kolar too. This force even went as far as Nagaland, and in Nagaland it fought a battle against the Japanese forces also. And the elders, when I joined in 1990, some of those people were still alive, but after their retirement, used to talk so highly about the Mysore Lancers or the Mysore Armed Police, about its bravery and valor. Before the Border Security Force was created in 1962, after the 1965, after the China annexation, the entire battalion of the Mysore Armed Police, now KSRP, was stationed in Jammu and Kashmir also, because we had no border security force at that point of time. So that goes the history of the bravery of this force, because from the beginning itself, the kind of training that was given by the under the leadership of the Diwans of Mysore and Naledi Krishnaraj Vadiyar, this force had molded itself into one of the most brave forces the country had witnessed. It is only unfortunate that this has not got documented properly, and the heroes of yesteryears have not been recognized. I'm very happy that at least at present such efforts are going on by people like Shri Raja Chandraji, Shri Uday Birje, to bring out this valor. We had several meetings in Delhi also in this connection of how to revive the honor of the Battle of Haifa, in which the horsemen and lancers had participated. In fact, wars are not celebrated, wars are only observed. On 20th of July 2018, there was a program in the House of Lords in London which witnessed the observance of the Battle of Haifa, and I was fortunate to take along with me the His Highness the Maharaja, present Maharaja of Mysore, and the present Maharaja of Mysore delivered a lecture also on the contribution of the Mysore Lancers. It was a very, very warm moment and moment of pride for all of us, because Mysore has never been portrayed as a land of brave warriors. In fact, from now on, at least under the leadership of Shri Raja Chandra and Shri Uday Birje and all those, we must make a concerted attempt to ensure that this story enters our school textbooks, college textbooks, and we must have a permanent exhibition and observance of this day every year. This will give a fillip for youngsters to join the Indian Army as well as the police services also. This battle, as you all know, led to the creation of Israel. I'm sure Uday or Sri Rajachandra may speak more about it. But from the police point of view, this was the greatest takeaway, that we were able to identify ourselves with a historic force. Even at present, if you go to Mysore, you can see the remnants of the Mysore Lancers, which we call as the Karnataka Armed Mounted Police, Karnataka Armed Mounted Police, which put up a very, very brilliant performance called the Torchlight Parade, as well as the horse show they put up. And there have been very good horsemen in Mysore who have taken very good care of the Mysore Lancers. Along with the Mysore Lancers, what was left behind was the Palace Band. The Palace Band has got extremely illustrious bandsmen. There are two bands in the Mysore the city police. One is called the English Band, other is called the Carnatic Band. These also trace its origin back to 1880s, when 1882, when the Mysore Lancers was created. Organized musicians came from from London, and they participated with English instruments. Some priceless instruments of the used by musical instruments used then can still be seen in the Mysore band museum even to this day also, but it is not yet open to public. But I'm sure it can be brought to public, because these are things for which people have to take interest to. It is brought to light. I will request the Mysore Maharaja, when I see him next, that he could put in a word to the government to make this into some kind of a permanent exhibition for the Mysore band, as well as the Mysore English band, as well as the Carnatic band also. Today morning, when we all assembled for a program near the Haifa Memorial in Ati Nagar, we had the Karnataka State Industrial Security Force play the Kayo Shri Gauri Karuna Lahiri, which we practiced over the last 10 days because the Mysore band was not able to come. Hopefully, we will be able to put up a better performance next time. And this program is best played by Indian instruments. We use a lot of regular band instruments to play the music today. So I am personally very grateful for having being made a part of this program, and lot of awareness is also going on about the Battle of Haifa. Especially Shri Raviji has been traveling all over the world and speaking about this historic battle, and how Indians emerged as good military leaders. And then on, the Britishers also started trusting, and military leadership saw several Indian officers also commanding senior positions, because till then even the all the guested officers positions were held by the Britishers or by the Anglo-Indians. So this gave a lot of fillip for leadership development, military upgradation, and opening up of the higher positions of the Indian Army to the locals. And it is a great lesson for all of us, because in history we have always been hearing of whom, or reading of from whom all we have been attacked, and where all we have lost, and who all have conquered us. We too have made history that should be abundantly be made clear to the next generation, at least before it is too late. So I'm very happy, and I'm thankful for this webinar program which Mrs. Geeta has arranged along with Uday, as well as with Shri Raja Chandra. And these are my sentiments, and I look forward to a program in which we can be able to put a number of paintings which I have personally got made by our own people. I have a collection of about 35 paintings of the Mysore the Mysore Lancers, which we thought we'll display today, but because of the pandemic and the present situation, we have deferred it to another day. I'm sure people will be coming through. My grandmother, Shri Yamuna Bai, is still alive. She is the daughter of Harohalli Srinivas Murthy. My grandmother is 94 years old, and she can speak about her father, who had gone and returned from Israel. And she was looking forward to today evening's program. But I'm sure when the program is held next, she will definitely come over to here, see us, and we had made a beautiful painting of our great grandfather, and she was very much moved, and she was moved to tears seeing the photograph of her father. And this is a great moment, and I'm very thankful to the families of all the martyrs. And I think all of us should put together, and even if it, howsoever small it is, make an effort to put up a museum so that the valor of these soldiers is not forgotten. Before I finally conclude, I would strongly urge Sri Uday and Sri Raja Chandra that at least we must make a small group and visit Israel and pay homage, because as martyrs, great grandchildren, we have never been there. Only the Honorable Prime Minister of India has been there, and we too have a sacred duty of respecting our martyrs. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very crisp understanding of the Mysore Lancers, the aftermath of the cavalry. And in your talk, we understand how crucial is leadership, command, logistics, and the working of the commander's mind when he mentioned of Colonel Desraj Ars, because not only our Indian soldiers, but even our Indian officers were very good at commanding. So military history is scripted mainly by people under pressure and usually in circumstances of chaos, danger, and incomplete and frequently conflicting information. And as the police chief has said, the war is not to be celebrated, but it is to be seen and understood. War history does have an impact on societies, cultures, and economies. A man fighting from horseback has the advantage of greater height and speed and inertial mass over an opponent on foot. Another element of horse mounted warfare is the psychological impact a mounted soldier can inflict on an opponent. Cavalry soldiers on large, heavy, and strong horses were used to break enemy formations. He detailed, our police, Mr. Bhaskar Rao had detailed what happened after the war as these lancers became the dismounted cavalry, and they were merged with the Karnataka Police Reserve Police, and they came and imparted with a rich war experience. And it was very interesting to note that these soldiers were of a secular kind. So religion was no bar, and it was only the commitment to a war as to what they were told by their superiors to fight. It was only fight for the Indian flag. So it was very nice to know that they were very secular, and they also, after the war, went to Jammu and Kashmir, as we did not have a border security force. So it's very interesting, and I would like to assure you, sir, that the paintings that you have, if you are interested, you can Destination Heritage can help you in taking these paintings to the colleges. For instance, we can take to Christ, St. Joseph's, then Mount Carmel's, Jyoti Nivas, and Garden College, so that if the children get to understand that war history is as important as the history they study, then maybe they will be triggered with the feel of pride for their past, for war history, and for their country. So I assure you, sir, that we can do this no problem. And since you said that we can also make some documentation, because in our country, documentation is the last thing on people's mind. It is more of an oral tradition. So this being the case, I think I had a talk today with the Mrs. of wife of Yogendra Ars, the granddaughter-in-law of Colonel Desraj Ars. So she said I could get an information. She shared a lot of information about Colonel Desraj Ars, very small, minute informations which throw a light on who this person is. Yeah, not only as a soldier, as a great military heroic person, but also as an individual. So she said we did not get much information, but it was given by a British national, because he could get the information from the libraries. That means the documentation is so strong. So why don't we also do a similar thing, that by coming by the next September 23rd, 2021, whether we can have a small book which will bring, for instance, each I mean, those martyrs who have given their life. Say, for example, one small book on Colonel Desrajars, one small book on Lingarajas, and so on. If you can bring this, I think we will be doing yeoman service in their memory and also tribute to their wonderful service that they have done.
Jodhpur Lancers has brought about coffee table book. Uh,
Yeah,
I think Rajachandraji and Udayji must have seen that. I think we too should look forward at least by next year's celebrations that we have a coffee table book.
So thank you so much, sir. You have given some practical suggestions, which we hope we will be able to take it forward because we are very serious and also enthusiastic, and your enthusiasm is very, very infectious. So I don't think we can be left around like the COVID. I think we will be charged to do something. Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
So I now call upon our next speaker from the royal family, Sri Raja Chandra, who is a science graduate from Yuvaraja's College, Mysore, and an engineering graduate in electronics and communication from NIE, Mysore. He worked as VSCC ISRO Trivandrum in satellite launch vehicle project, where Sri APJ Kalam was its director in 1976, but resigned within a year after marrying Princess Indrakshi Devi, the fourth daughter of late Maharaja of Mysore, His Highness Sri Jayachamarajendra Wadiyar, but joined Bharat Electronics Limited, Bangalore, BEL subsequently, and worked till 1986. Thereafter, he started an ancillary unit to BEL and was active till 2015. He has published a book on the Maharaja's composition and also a book on his administration as a ruler. He is a freelance writer and a critic on the Mysore history to newspapers, etc. Interestingly, as an insider, he was the original contributor about the Mysore rulers in Wikipedia during its early days. From the royal family, who better to give us insights to little known facts of the Mysore royals and their connect with the Mysore Lancers and Mysore Transport Corps, highlighting the famous Amrut Mahal Cactus role in the wars. Over to you, Raja Chandra sir. Eagerly looking forward to your take.
yeah. Good evening, Destination Helpage Forum members and distinguished panel members and other historical buffs who are on the webinar. I'm sure that most of you are looking for a person with a royal turban, as Madam had published in the poster. I'm sorry if I'm disappointing you. I assure you I am the same person here. Let me at the outset confess that I am not a historian, but at best I can only be called a passionate about my own family history. I understand the Destination Heritage Forum members include some scholars and academicians, and I seek their indulgence for any fox pass I may commit. Subject given to me today is Mysore Lancers and Mysore Transport Corps, but when Geeta Madam proposed that I should speak, I was a bit diffident because I had never spoken in a public forum earlier, and this is my first webinar. I hope I can do some justice to it. Though the history of Mysore horse and the cavalry, the Mysore famous Amrit Mahal Bullock based transport corps have a very rich heritage, may find it very difficult to go deep into the subject due to the paucity of time. But let me tell you, as far as the horses and the elephants or the cows are concerned, there is nothing new in the history because right from the mythological days when Sagar Mantha was done by the Danavas and the god, this thing, Airavata, the elephant, the Uttarikevara, the divine seven-headed horse, and Kamadhenu or the Surabhi, the wish-granting cow, were the one which have come out of that. So that's how even today, probably during Dasara, when we worship Pattada Ane and the Pattada Kudre or the Pattada Hasu, it is symbolic of that, I suppose. Even when you think about Mahabharata, the first thing which comes to everybody's mind is the Lord Krishna charioting Arjuna and giving Gita Upadesha. So the horses have been there from time immemorial, as such. So even among the contemporary Indian history, when you think about Shivaji or Rana Pratap, you cannot miss the horse which supported them. And so that way, horses have been a part of any war from time immemorial. And no wonder that even today, in technological terms, we have horsepower HP used in deciding the power of the machines and things like that. But I think if you go back to somewhere in 1799, after the fall of Tipu Sultan, when the Mysore Raj Odayar III was installed as the ruler of Mysore, one should come in, know that Arthur Wellesley was part of our history in those days. Arthur Wellesley, as you know, was the brother of the then Governor General at Calcutta, that is Richard Wellesley, also known as the Lord of Mornington. Arthur Wellesley learned, I can say, his war heroics, whatever he was famous for later on in the Peninsular War by defeating the Napoleon, and then later on be called as the Duke of Wellington. And I think he got everything from here. So no wonder when at one point of time, somebody asked him, "What was your finest moment?" He said a simple one word, that is Asai. And I will come to that. What is that Asai is a little later. But what you should understand is that the as per the subsidiary treaty which we entered with the British East India Company, we were supposed to keep a small force which can come into the rescue of either of them. So in this selected 3,000 and odd Siledars, as we call them, that is the cavalry as they were called at that time, they took part in so many innumerable no, uh, war fronts where Arthur Wellesley really excelled. One of the first one was when he subjugated a Dondia war, a veteran of in from Shikaripur. He was subjugated here. Then there was a British mutiny in Srirangpatna itself. Even to subjugate them, the British wanted our cavalry help. Later on in the Second Maratha War, which was done at Asai and Argam in 1802 and 1805. This is the war which was fought for many days, and the Maratha gunners had an upper hand. Despite that, Arthur Wellesley was able to win the war. And that's how at the later date when he was asked, which was despite the he winning the Peninsular War, his finest moment, he said, was when he won the Assai War. And probably for some of you who are Bangaloreans can know that there is a road also named after that in commemoration of that war. Later on, even as far as Malwa, there was an Amir Khan, a freebooter. Even he was subjugated by us. Then there was the Pindaris in Nizam's territory. Even for that, we went to the rescue. Then the last one was in 1817 in the Mahidapur, where the whole Kar were subjugated. So, like that, though a very small bunch of 3,000 and odd, our own lancers, as we call them now, took part in that. They took a very good part and helped the Britishers subjugate these people. Hence, now I'll go back, do a quantum jump, and come back to the post-rendition period because after all this, there was a peace in the country and there was hardly any war. And actually, the Siledars had disbanded and hardly there was any interest in them, except for Mark Cubman's own passion for horses, which something like 50 horses he owned. And in fact, uh, the present Kunigal form was actually started by him during that period. But what happened was when the first rendition, probably some of you don't know what rendition means. That means from 1831 to 1881, the British commissioners ruled the old Mysore state by themselves. But after in 1881, Maharaja Chamarajendra Wadaya, who ruled from 1881 to 1894, a boy of 18 was put on throne and the administration was given back to him. That was the period when the golden period of the Mysore started. So Maharaja in 18 when he started he was very passionate about horses. No wonder when you go to Lal Bagh today, what you see is an equestrian statue of him, which is very much there. So he started again putting together the lances. But somewhere around this time in 1888, Lord Dufferin, the viceroy at that the speech in Patiala, suggested why not we all the to the princely state. He said, why don't you revive your old system and keep at least a selected number of people ready for war so that sometime or other they can be of some use. Maybe he was profiting because as it happened later. So what happened was one Major Mellis who was deputed to reorganize all the cavalry in most of the princely states. So he came down to Bangalore also and stopped the units in disbanded all over like Shimoga and all that and concentrated only in Bangalore. So he put them all together and make them into a modern military force. But the first requisition for the Mysore Lancers came, in fact, not in the World War One, but in the Boer War, which took place in 1900, when there was a famous Lumsden horse which went from Calcutta to Africa to fight the war. But as the war was basically between the whites, our warriors didn't go, but at least some around 100 horses were sent, and most of the there was a lot of interest among the British planters who said they will fight the war. They also went along, and there were like some four officers who were Britishers who were actually working for the Mysore police force. They also joined, and within no time they succeeded and they came back. When they were returning, what happened was the field marshal at that time, Lord Robert, telegraphed to the Excellency, the Viceroy of India, Lord Curzon, like Lambton Horse left Pretoria today for India, about 120 strong. I cannot allow the corps to leave South Africa without expressing to Your Excellency, as their honorary colonel, my appreciation of the excellent services rendered throughout the war by the officers and others. So that's how, and incidentally, when these 100 horses went, 50 of them were gifted by Colonel Desraj as himself. The remaining came from the Maharani, the regent. So, so that you can see the contribution of Colonel Desraj started way back in 1900 itself. But somewhere along, we are only talking about horses. What is it about this Amrit Mahal? What is it? So it is an interesting thing because in the good old days when the wars were fought, there were at least, when you hear about the war, the Marathas coming and attacking Bangalore, Karnataka, or the other Nizams coming, or the Mughals coming, there used to be at least 10 to 20,000 horses and the remaining infantry. When they used to come, there used to be a lot of logistic problem, like the gunners and other things have to be moved from miles together. That's when these Amrit Mahal cattle were used and the bullock carts were very much in use. Apart from that, there used to be a big bazaar carrying the daily needs of the war in the warfare. But how it all started is a question. It generally said that the Amrit Mahal, as you normally know, or the Haldikar and other bullocks which we were known earlier, they were all, originally patronized by the Vijayanagar kings. But later on, it was followed suit by the Maharaja of the Wadiyar Maharajas of Mysore. Particularly, when you hear about Chikdevaraja Wadiyar, who ruled Mysore from 1673 to 1704, very one of the most famous rulers of that time. He had a 18 department, what you call it, an 18, Atara Kacheri, the name. The original was actually known as Chowdis. The departments were known as Chowdis. And one of the Chowdi was known as Benaya Chowdi. It consisted of these taking care of these things. And they had a vast number of grazing grounds all across the state. They were known as the Kavals. The Kavals were famous for these. And these the Mysore bullock carts were famous because they were very hardy. They may eat less, but they can work hard. They can go for long distances without food, and they can cover long distances. That's how they were famous. But soon after Chikdevraj Wadiyar, during the in the early 1850s, when rather the 1750s, when Hyder Ali usurped the throne of Mysore, he changed the name of these breeds, probably using the word Surabhi, the cow Kamadhenu. He called it as Amrit Mahal. Maybe that is one of the reasons. So since then, these bullocks are known by the name Amrit Mahal. These things. So somewhere in 1900, see, in the post, in fact, even the post 1799, the Britishers even supplied more than 200 bullocks every year for their upkeep because they needed them to transport their gunnery and whatnot. So somewhere or another, in 19 after the Boer War, Transport Corps was a complement of the Regiment of Imperial Service Lancers for the purpose of imperial defense was formed. From the days of the Treaty of Srirangapatnam in 1789, about 200 bullock of the Amrit Mahal breed used to be supplied yearly for British bullock batteries. But after the Boer War, as all the batteries were ordered to be horse, the British government had no longer had any need for the Mysore bullocks. Amrit Mahal breeds became part of the Mysore Imperial Service Transport. The full strength of the corps now formed was around 300 carts and 704 bullocks. As regards, but now coming back to the World War, as it unfolded in 1914, the King George V issued a fervent message to the Indians for help, and Maharaja Krishnaja Wadiyar IV was the first among the Indian princes to not only offer support in kind, he offered 50,000 immediately, but also offer his imperial service forces. Through it all, one understands that at that point of time, Sir M. Vishwesvaraya was Diwan, but yet the Maharaja felt that he needed a much more family hand in dealing with the issue. So he immediately made his young brother, the Yuvaraja of Mysore, as an extraordinary member of the Council of Ministers. Because till then, when you say a Council of Ministers, it consisted of only Diwan and two councillors who distributed the ministries among themselves. Now, the Yuvaraja became an extraordinary member of the council. And he, along with his eldest brother-in-law and also happens to be his uncle, Sir M. Kantarajar, who was the councillor at that time, and the second brother-in-law, that is Colonel J. Desarajar, the triumvirate, took command of the situation from start to finish. So that means whether it is taking care of recruitment, whether taking care of the people back home or going war front, supplying, everything was fully managed by these three family members, that is Yuvaraja, the Sir M. Kantarajar, the brother-in-law, the brother of the Maharani Regent, Vanivilas Sanidam, Colonel Desarajar, who married the second sister of the Maharaja Krishraj Wadiyar. They were in charge of the whole affair for all the time. And not only that, they contributed not only in terms of their time, they contributed liberally in cash. So much so, Colonel Desarajar's son Rajkumar Desarajar contributed as much as 1 lakh for this for the war fund. Anyway, as the Mysore regiment left Bangalore on the 13th of October 1914, there were 29 officers, 444 non-commissioned officers, and men with 526 horses, 49 mules, and 132 followers. And Major Regimentedar B. Chamraj Aras was in command of the Mysore regiment. Incidentally, when I talk about Regimentedar B. Chamraj Aras, he was the grandfather of my mother-in-law, the Maharani Triprasundaramani. So Colonel Desrajas was also sent as a representative of the Maharaja, as a personal representative. As you know, he was not alone. When you talk about a Jodhpur Lancers was headed by none other than a great warrior by himself, Sir Pratap Singh, who fought as a career military man. The first Jodhpur went to, in fact, to France and they joined the war here in the Middle East much later in 1916 also. So reinforcements were sent from Mysore from time to time as it required. Similarly, the Mysore Transport Corps was mobilized for active service in 1950. 6 detachments of the corps consisting of 12 officers, 321 the 49 followers with 210 carts and 468 bullocks, 7 mules, 35 ponies were dispatched in September 1960 under the command of one Mr. Farzullah Khan. Unfortunately, Farzullah Khan died in hospital there itself. To sum up the heroics of our Lancer and the Transport Corps in the war, I would like to fall back on what Prince of Wales said when he visited much later when the peace had returned in 1922. Replying to the Maharaja's toast, he said in October 1914, Your Highness's Imperial Service Lancers sailed from India for Egypt. They fought in Egypt, where I had the pleasure of seeing them. Yes, the Prince of Wales personally visited the war front and he coordinated the war efforts there from Egypt. So seeing them in 1916 and subsequently took part in 2 year desert campaign which ended in the capture of Gaza and the fall of Jerusalem. As most of you people talk about, only Haifa was liberated. It is not just Haifa was not the only place which was liberated. The part of one of them is, as you say, the Gaza, Jerusalem, and one of the another important city known as the Beersheba was also liberated by the forces of which Mysore Lancer played a stellar role. So later on, when these engagements were over, they joined what was known as the 15th Cavalry Brigade and were active in the advance in the Jordan Valley and the final series of engagement which broke out in the Turkish resistance and carried our arms into Syria. They distinguished themselves at Haifa, where they drove the enemy from a strong position on Mount Carmel, capturing 7 guns and 300 prisoners. So when I say 7 guns and 300 prisoners, I'm talking about the role of the Mysore Lancers alone. Because the tough part of the job was actually handed over to the Mysore Lancers. They were asked to climb up the Mount Carmel from behind and silence the gunners as in the field down actually the river Kishan is down where the plain where the Jodhpur Lancers were moved to charge over to the city of Haifa. So when they were charging, the gunners were supposed to be shooting down from the hillock of the Caramel. So our people were sent to go up to climb on their horses the tough terrain of the Mount Carmel and were asked to silence them, which they were largely successful along with the Sherwood Lancers. So to a large extent, whatever one can say about the success of the Jodhpur Lancers, some of them like Dalpat Singh who laid their life, was largely also due to the backup given by the Mysore Lancers from atop the hill. Anyway, once the Jodhpur Lancers charged in, the remnants of Mysore Lancers also followed suit, and it was a matter of time before the Haifa was liberated from centuries of Ottoman Empire's Turkish people. Then the Imperial Service Transport. So now later on, what happened was we went out to the final section was played at Aleppo. So from Haifa, our warriors went to Aleppo. There they were taken by a little bit of a surprise by, probably the there was a failure of communication. They were made to face the not only the German gunners, the Turkish people. When you see that, it was on the 25th of October, 1918. When you look at the roll of honors in the Mysore Lancers, both at the Delhi as well as at the Bangalore, there are 26 names mentioned. Unfortunately, 20 of them actually died on 26 October 1918. Among them, I'm sorry to say, was Mr. Uday Birje's great grandfather, Agnath Rao Birje, and one of our own relative, Lingarajas, who was well known, Risaldar Lingarajas, who was also the son in law of the commander in chief, Chamrajaras. He, during the Suez Canal campaign, had hand to hand killed a Bedouin leader, which virtually made the Suez Canal free, because of which he was also given a lot of distinctive awards and all that. But unfortunately, he couldn't come back, and so were the 20 of them. It is a sad moment because the next day happened to be an armistice was declared the next day by the Turkish. So if they had survived for one more day, probably our people would have come unscathed back to be with their kith and kin among us. And it is a sad moment indeed. And no wonder that when you say 23rd September 1919 should be Haifa Day, actually, the memorial is not about just the Haifa war. It is about the people who laid their lives. And we should, and it says their memory will live longer. And we have failed in our duty to see that of their memories, because when I started for the last 10 years also in this campaign to honor them, I'm not been able to find many of the people for the Mysore lands. Not though, like luckily I was able to get to know Uday Birje, Anupama Singh, and some of these people, and Mr. Mane and these people, and because of them that we are able to do whatever little we could do in the last few years to celebrate Haifa Day. Now, coming back to the speech of uh, the this thing. He continues like this. He says the Imperial Service Transport Corps proceeded to Mesopotamia in 1916, continued in active service till the end of the war. It won the highest recommendation from the general officer commanding the Mesopotamia. All praise is due to the gallant corps and to the officers who helped them to deserve and win their high reputation. In addition to keeping those units up to their full strength, 5,000 of your Highness subjects enlisted in the units of the Indian Army. So when we say about the 5,000, this is not about the Lancer. These are about the people who, other than the Lancer, directly enrolled in the British Army and put their best efforts. And there are a lot more people who signed the martyrs, who among them whom we have had to probably know much about them to, because probably because when I go back, when I see Britishers have done one good thing, that is about Commonwealth crematoriums they have across the world, whether it is Singapore, whether it is in India or in Basra or Haifa. These are all well-maintained monuments where all these people's names are engraved and their lives, at least their contributions are kept alive. So as Mr. Mr. IPS, Mr. Bhaskar Rao told us, it is high time some of us, with the help of Bhaskar Rao, visit these places and make a list of these martyrs and bring them on record so for posterity, so that we can remember them uh, for our future generation. Because otherwise, we don't know what they did, how many of them died, how many of them got Indian IDSM or so distinctive awards were given by the British for many of them. Many of them even got other awards. So, but unfortunately, we are yet to know much about it. My efforts are on. I will try and see as much as I can honor them. Again, continuing with the speech, The contribution from your Highness State subjects reached a total nearly of 2 crores. That means the Mysore government and the people of Mysore together they contributed as much as 2 crores to the war efforts. That's quite a lot when you look at the value of 2 crores today. Besides that, our state also contributed hides, timber, blankets, and other material necessary for the efficiency of our arms. The war record of Your Highness State is indeed a notable one, and it is great privilege to me to be able to offer my thanks and congratulations in person tonight to Your Highness of these achievements. So, coming from the Prince of Wales about the contribution, I don't have to say much about. We are not trying to beat our own back. Actually, our contribution was so historical. The Prince of Wales came down to Bangalore, had as early as 1922, and said these beautiful words about our contribution. So, am I taking too long, Gita? I can
No,
continue.
no, you can continue. Another five
Thank you very
minutes.
much. Okay, thank you very much. I feel it necessary to highlight the various honors and distinctions earned by some Mysore forces in the war. The first among them is Colonel J. Desarajara, CIE and MBO, was awarded the British rank of Honorary Lieutenant Colonel by His Imperial Majesty, the King of England. No wonder that he became the first Indian member to become member of the so-called bus club, what we call today, because in those days it was an exclusive domain of the military officers of the British, and Colonel Desarajar was given the honor to be the first Indian to be a member of the Bangalore club. And then Big Chamraja Aras received the Order of British India, first class, with the title of Sardar Bahadur. Two officers received Order of British India, second class, two others Indian Orders of Merit, second class. Around 20 officers got Indian Distinguished Service Medals, and around another 20 officers got Indian Meritorious Service Medals. And besides that, the King of Serbia, because of whom the World War actually started, gave what is known as the White Eagles Serbia Award to Chamraj Aras and also to other warriors. So this is by and large is what is been the contribution of the Mysore Lancers and Mysore Corps. And if you want to talk about the individual courage and these things, it will take it too long. But one interesting anecdote I want to tell you. One of them was B.B. Krishna Aras. He fought in the Aleppo in the final war, and he fought till almost he got exhausted by though he was hit by the bullets. He fought till the end in the absence of his own commander. But what was done was he was lucky enough to get some paintings by the German people, German artists who had done some paintings of the war. He got it as a war booty and presented to the Maharaja Krishnaraj Wadiyar on his return. When Maharaja Krishnaraj Wadiyar went to England for the first time in his life in 1933, he took B.P. Krishnayar also along with him and took the calculatedly he took these paintings along with him. And when he ultimately landed in Germany, he gave a lot of press coverage telling that I want to know who this top man was, the artist. And he handed over these paintings to the Germans. And luckily, they found the top man who had done the painting. And he gifted two of them in return for the kind gesture by the Maharaj. So that was one of the nice anecdotes. And also the forethought of the Maharaja who could remember this and take it when he went to England and also to Germany to take this painting. And somehow I thought I should share with them. Coming to the monuments we have, one small thing before probably Uday takes over, I want to tell that the Teen Murti Bhavan, as you call it in Delhi, most of us probably think that some of us who are or most of us who are all the children of the midnight, who have all grown up thinking that Chacha Nehru's bungalow, Teen Murti Bhavan was, and probably we never knew about Teen Murti Chowk. But actually, Tirumurti Bhavan was constructed much later for the officer of the British. This was actually done by one British uh, sculptor known as Leonardo Jennings. He was actually a Britisher who was trained well, but he also served in India and also taught about the art in Calcutta for a while. But he later on participated in the World War One in France. But coming to the Leonardo Jennings, I want to tell you that there is a Bangalore connection. Some of you who are familiar with the Kabban Park, as you call, but more correctly, Chamarajendra Wadiyar Park, as it is actually officially called after the Maharaja Chamaraj Wadiyar, there is actually King Edward's the seventh statue there. Actually, even that statue was done by Leonardo James. So people probably history buffs now can go and have a look at the statue which is there in the Chamarajendra. Coming to anyway to the one in the Mysore Memorial in the road, as you know that it was originally named as the road from the Jaimal Road to the Atinagar actually was named after Lieutenant Colonel Desraj Aras, but somehow the name was effaced from the public memory. And I am happy to say, because of the corporator of the area, ex-corporator of the area, Gopal Mane, and the others' effort like Anupam Singh and others, we have been successfully able to put it back today. And I feel that has been a good effort from all of us from whatever we have seen from the last year. I think it is a good effort. Lastly, I want to tell the war effort also brought good tidings to the royal family. What connection? In 1919, after the war ended, the Mysore royal family was blessed with a royal hair. That's my father-in-law, Jai Chamaraj Wadiyar. In fact, the name Jaya was as a prefix was added because of victory in the world. So as you all know, probably knew, Chamaraj Wadiyar is the grandfather's name. Normally, it would have been the practice to call him as Chamaraj Wadiyar. But because of the war effort, his name was known as Jai Chamaraj Wadiyar. But there is an unfortunate end to it today's talk also. Unfortunately, my father-in-law Jayachamraj Jodhia died on this very day in 1974. So it is a kind of melancholy for all of us. It is a dark day to the daughters who are alive today because it is the darkest day in their life. I hope that just like the martyrs, along with all of you, we pay homage to these great souls who have contributed so much to our history, so much to our culture, so much to our tradition. Thank you very much. Thank you, Geeta Madam. Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar Rao. Thank you, everybody, for giving me this opportunity. Hope I have done a small justice to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raja sir. Thank you for being for having Destination Heritage as the maiden platform for your maiden speech. But by the look of things, in the last 40 minutes, we realized that you're a seasoned speaker who has so much of passion that we also got drawn into your scheme of things and the way you narrated so many things. When we discuss wars, the role of animals that are crucial is almost forgotten. Some victories, it seems, were achieved not just by heroes, but by animal transporters too. And this was made evident by Mr. Raja Chandra, who brought about the Amrut Mahal and the horse victory. Sri Raja Chandra highlighted little known facts of the power of the horse and of the animal transport corps and of the cattle department, which was formed, also known as the Benne Chavadi, or the department of the breed of cattle called as Amrut Mahal. And these were organized into gun, pack, and plow bullocks. The name pertains to another time in Karnataka's history, that the sturdy native bull's temperament and endurance was similar to a thoroughbred horse, played an important role in modern day wars. And it made for a very fascinating listen, Raja Chandra sir. The horses are referred as their horse horns. They are referred to as swords. They were reared in 17th century by the Mysore ruler Chikkadeva Raja Wadiyar, along with cows that supplied milk and butter to the royal palace. They were assumed to have descended from the Halikar breed brought to Srirangapatna somewhere in the late 1500s by a Vijayanagar viceroy. Thank you so much for this history of the cattle that played a dominating role even in war. And he also spoke of the post rendition happenings. And in 1888, that Dufferin selected a number of lancers spread all over, and it was Nelle who reorganized all the cavalry that was distributed everywhere into one component division. And 100 horses were sent to Africa, and the commendation thereof, out of which 50 horses were again gifted by Colonel Desraj Arsa. He is a very fascinating gentleman because I have heard lots about him today from various sources, and I think it is really worthwhile if we can bring out a small book on who this person, as a person, other than a great soldier and a commander, as a person, who is this gentleman, because he seems to be very fascinating. And he also contributed to the war fund of a champion of Chamaraja Ars, who was sent as a representative of Maharaja. He also spoke of the little known Alapa War on 25th October 1918, and it's a matter of one day between life and death. Unfortunately, if one day the war was over, our heroes would have come back alive. So 20 of them died there, and it is really very interesting news that of the 25 to 26 members whose names are engraved on the memorial, 20 belong to those who gave their life in the Aleppo War. So it is more of our heroes of the World War One, which was very nicely elucidated by Sri Raja Chandra. And he also spoke of how 1919 was a very momentous year when Jayachamrajendra Vadiyar was born and named because of the victory, and also a sad day for the family since he passed away on 23rd September 1974. So it was a very interesting and a fascinating account from an insider of the royal family into the various aspects of this Mysore Lancers and of the royal family's association with that. So thank you so much, Raja Chandra sir. We hope to hear more on other webinars also. Our third speaker is Mr. Uday Raghunath Barje, who is a descendant of one of the Lancers, Raghunath Rao Barje, who gave up his life in the Aleppo War, and his name is engraved on the memorial at RT Nagar. An engineer by qualification, Uday Raghunath Barje has over 25 years of experience in the information technology, telecommunications, and networking industry, starting his career in HCL, Hewlett Packard, in 1986. During his tenure in DEC, he set up some of the largest enterprise and service provider networks in India that included VSNL's Internet Gateway Network, after which he joined Cabletron Systems as the managing director for India and South Asia region. In 2004, Uday Barji, as a promoter and vice president, was instrumental in setting up a US-based startup, Net Devices Networks India Private Limited, which was subsequently acquired by Alcatel-Lucent Corporation. At Alcatel-Lucent, Uday served as Director India and Middle East. In 2010, Uday joined Hewlett Packard India as a country manager for HP's network business with responsibility of the P&L. In 2014, he set up Think Street Technologies, a startup to develop go-to-market strategies and develop the startup ecosystem in India, US, APAC, and MEA regions. Additionally, Uday is involved in the New Age Incubation Network, NAIN, an initiative of the government of Karnataka, IT and BT, in evaluating and mentoring startups across Karnataka, and in the evaluation committee. He was invited as a jury member of the Elevated 100 in 2017, 18, and 19, a first of its kind initiative set by the government of Karnataka to identify, fund, and mentor top 100 innovative technology startups. Most recently, Uday has been invited to be in the Government of India Committee for the PAMIIM World Management Conference to evaluate India's top startups, Digital India initiatives, and the Smart 50 initiatives of IIM Calcutta to identify, fund, and mentor India's top 50 innovative startups. Uday is a mentor for change under the Atal Innovation Mission of Niti Aayog, Government of India, an alumnus of Harvard Business School, USA, where he has completed his executive education with specialization in authentic leadership and corporate governance. I now invite you, sir, to contribute a better understanding of Haifa Day and Mysore lands. Over to you, Mr. Uday.
Yeah, thank you, Geeta ma'am. Thank you, Bhaskar sir and Rajachandra sir. I think it was a very inspiring talk. So in the next, I'm going to take about 10 to 12 minutes, is more or less re-emphasizing some of the messages given by Bhaskar Rao and Rajachandra sir. In terms of, I have some graphics, I have a few slides and a couple of videos which sort of invokes the emotions in you. I mean, I think, see, every time I meet Raja Chandra sir and Bhaskar Rao sir, I'm not only inspired, but I also become emotional because of my, the legacy that I have a responsibility for. I'm not just emotional. For me, it's a learning. I learned a couple of two new things. I'll talk about that, and also I get motivated to ensure that we restore the history, not just for my family, for the rest of the martyrs and the rest of the Mysore Lancers community that we have passionately put together. So thank you once again. So I will straight away go to the presentation. As I said, I have about 10 to 12 slides and 30-second videos, which is more like a documentary. It's not the live videos. Okay, I'll just go to that. I'm hoping you can see my presentation. Geeta ma'am, can you just confirm that? Okay.
Yes, Uday, we can see your presentation.
Thank you, sir. So.
The mighty Lancers of India, descendants of fierce martial bloodlines, masters of sword and steed, whose battle cries have echoed across the world. On imperial service to the British Crown, they head out to the front lines of the Great War. Across the seas, on unfamiliar shores, may lie total destruction or eternal glory.
Okay, so that was just a short feel of what the battlefield looked like. I think Raja sir mentioned about the Mount Carmel. I think you saw the terrain. I think this is a documentary which is done by History Channel. I just took a 20-second, 30-second clipping to give you that feel of what the battlefield looked like and what the horses were doing. I mean, Raja sir mentioned about Sri Vadeyar being passionate about horses. I want to proudly say that I share the same passionate. I mean, I think that makes me more involved into this. So here, I think normally we forget the courtesies and the thanks to various people. So I thought I will do this right in the beginning of my presentation. The people who have inspired this, they are all here to see. The corporator, Bhaskar Rao sir, I think the royal family, Pramoda Devi, I think this is all, these are pictures from the last year's celebration. And on the right side, the pictures of the Mysore Lancers team. We have put together a small core team. Here, one or two of them were not there today. But Geeta ma'am is very much a very, very vocal supporter of our initiative. So thank you all of you for making this a journey, a great journey. It's not just one point, today's achievement or whatever. So we have a great journey ahead. We have achieved a lot in the last 5 to 10 years. We have a great dream in the next maybe decade or so, and we look forward to together as a team and with the support of all these people on the screen here to achieve that. And the lady in the blue sari here is the Consul General of South India for Israel, based in Bangalore. Last year she was here. She's just been moved out. The new person has come, but he could not join because he has just landed and he's in quarantine. But his deputy came. We will talk a little bit about that. Here, so why are we here? I think this is one certificate my great grandmother was given by the Queen, and this is just a scanned image. And if you see the Queen's picture, if you see the original, I think some of my team members have seen the original. The painting here is 100 plus years old, and not a single, I would say, bit of it has faded. And this is just a scanned image. I mean, it's a very poor scanned image. You know, the scanners are all just this. But the real original is so beautiful. So the kind of painting. But on the right side, it is a personally written, handwritten note by the Queen and signed at the bottom. You will see it here. I will just read it out. In sorrow and sympathy, my thoughts fly across the seas to my sisters in India, that beautiful land which I have twice visited and love so well. I send you this to do honor to a very brave soldier of the empire who died for you and us in the glorious fight for truth and freedom against tyranny and broken faith. I think this is, when I saw this gave me that motivation to, restore that part of history. I think the message is very, very clear. And this certificate was given to my great grandmother. And you will be amazed to know that my great grandmother lived for 100 plus years. I think 103 or 104. I was just a teenager, and she used to share some snippets about her husband. She lost her husband, I mean, at a very young age. Her husband, that is my great grandmother, died in the war, which Raja sir talked about, at the age of, I think, 25 or 26. Okay, and so it's been a struggle. I think I don't want to spend too much time on that part, but I think I've seen the struggle that she's gone through, and her extended family, that is my grandfather and my father. So we will talk about that and in some other occasion. Here, this is the Viceroy of India that time, Francis Chelmsford. This is written in Marathi because, I think that time the Marathas were part of the Mysore Maharaja family. And this is written in Marathi. Again, Rai Bai, if you see this, it is personally, this year, it's Rai Bai was her name, and given to her, and the handwritten note must be by one of the officers. And here, this is the same, I think, signed here and given this. The Queen's message is this written in Marathi here. And the message here is same translated in what I read out in English. It is the same Marathi written saying that you need to honor the person who fought this great war and having sacrificed. There's another beautiful certificate. I think this makes me even more emotional given by the. Okay, before I come to that, this is Raja sir talked about Vishweshwaraya. I'm thinking whether this signature is by Vishweshwaraya or somebody. I don't know. But this was the Diwan's. It is, sir.
What is the date? I say.
Date is 1919. Okay.
I think
1919. Obviously, I don't know which. Okay. So here, I think the Diwan. Okay, sir. So here, I mean, simple two-line, His Highness the Maharaja commands me to assure you of His Highness sympathy in your sorrow. This is again given to my great-grandmother, a memo from Mysore. And I think Diwan Vishweshwaraya, I think, served, as Raja sir said, served as a Diwan during the Mysore Lances period. Here is a beautiful, very beautiful wordings. Given by the King George, in 1918, after my great grandfather died. He says, "He whom this scroll commemorates was numbered among those who, at the call of king and country, left all that was dear to them, endured hardness, faced danger, and finally passed out of the sight of men by the path of duty and self-sacrifice, giving up their own lives that others might live in freedom. Let those, let those who come after see to it that his name be not forgotten. I think this is something which every time I see this, I become emotional. And I'm speaking this on behalf of so many of the martyrs. It's not only me. This whole presentation is not about me. I'm talking about all the martyrs. It talks about keep their names alive. And they all fought for our freedom. In fact, there's a lot of history around how India's freedom little bit had dependency on this war. So we'll not get into that, but here, this was the personal return. And bottom here, you see, my grandfather was Lieutenant, Dafedar Raghunathra Birje, Mysore Imperial Service Lancers, and it was given to my great-grandmother. So I will talk a little, I have a few more slides. Let me go to the next. There is another video. I think I'm just using this video to give you that little bit of a emotional feeling. So let me.
D-Day. Jodhpur and Mysore Lancers split up. Jodhpur Lancers head for Balad al-Sheikh, 7 kilometers outside Haifa. Here, they must wait for Mysore's signal before commencing their attack. Mysore Lancers head for Mount Carmel to neutralize the enemy's guns. They must do this latest by 2 p.m.
Okay, there's one last video. I'll play this.
100 years ago, Indian Lancers created history on horseback. Riding against all odds, they liberated the port town of Haifa from Turkish and German occupation in the Great War. It was one of the greatest cavalry victories of the 20th century. Now, India's horse warriors and keepers of a centuries-old legacy prepare to commemorate that historic victory. Proudly bearing their insignia of the double-headed eagle, the 61st Cavalry Regiment will ride on Haifa Day to honor India's Lancers who touched glory 100 years ago.
Okay, so I just want to tell you a couple of anecdote. I mean, I mentioned I was a teenager when my great-grandmother was very much alive, and she was, she passed out silently without telling any of us. But I used to interact with her, being a small kid. She used to tell me that she used to live in the, what we call the Mysore Lancers area, here in this Munireddy Palya, where this memorial is. She and my grandfather also was joined the Mysore Lancers. Little bit I'll talk in the next 2-3 minutes. So they used to tell me that when this group of horses, after the training, they used to come near the houses, because the houses were all close by in the training area and in the barracks. So this is it, when these horses came, the whole earth used to shake. They were so powerful and they were so mighty. So I think these men were of no use if these great horses were not there. I am just making a rash statement, but that's what it is. I am being a passionate horseman, horse lover. I want to say that. But they were so powerful. I have a few photographs separately, not now, of my grandfather himself in these horses, and I enjoy being photographed with these horses. Okay, so next. Okay, I have another 3 or 4 slides. This is the Delhi Haifa Memorial, which is called the Trimurti. A little bit, Raja sir talked about Leonard Jennings. Somewhere I read that this whole memorial or the sculptures were built in London and shipped to Delhi, is what I heard. And you see there are 3-cornered, one dedicated for Mysore Lancers, one for Hyderabad Lancers, and one for Jodhpur Lancers. On the right side, you will see this monument. On the Mysore Lancers side, I think Bhaskar Rao sir talked about, I think Geeta ma'am talked about how we were secular. If you see the names, It's a mix of Christian, Marathas, Rajput, Muslims, everybody. So there's no particular religion to this. These are the martyrs under the Mysore Lancers. Surely there are more. We need to identify and bring them somewhere into the honorary positions. Okay, the next one. I think this is last year's celebration. I keep repeating, Raja sir, Bhaskar Rao sir have been the motivation, the backbone of all our efforts. And this is a very nice, actually, maybe a little bit badly maintained, but very nice memorial with the insignia and with the roll of honor specific only to the Mysore Lancers. This was the last year's celebration we had the same day. And this is, and all of us, I think, it's amazing that Israel releases a stamp around the Lancers, but India doesn't have. Israel's textbooks for children has a history of the Mysore Lancers and the other Jodhpur Lancers and the Hyderabad Lancers. Indian textbooks don't have. So we are on a mission to ensure that we also have the same position in India. So the Prime Minister, actually the whole, I would say the turning point was 2 years back when Prime Minister went and laid the wreath at the Haifa Memorial, which is dedicated to all the Lancers and a few other, martyred people in Haifa city. Just to give you a little bit touch on Haifa. Haifa city is, I being a technologist, I have a strong connect with Haifa because Haifa is the Silicon City of Israel. It is like California in some way. It is like Bengaluru in some way. It's all the major tech companies of Israel. Israel is very, very famous. I think you can do some research. All the tech companies are based in Haifa. And here the stamp and the Haifa and the PM's, PM both, at that time the PM of, even now, of course, Netanyahu was the PM. So they paid the respect. It is historic. First time that has happened in Indian history. Okay. And finally, the last slide, you saw this brief video, but what is key here is, Bhaskar also talked about how Karnataka has, absorbed the double-headed eagle. Beautiful. I think double-headed eagle has become now the insignia of the 61st Cavalry. So just to round off, my great-grandfather got martyred. And that little bit I talked about. My grandfather, who was very much alive till about 15 years back, he also served in the Mysore Lancers. After it got merged with 61st Cavalry, he joined the 61st Cavalry, and he did not fight any war. But he went up to the Indo-Pak border and returned back. Pakistan had surrendered by then, but he served in the 61st Cavalry. My father also was served in the defense ministry. I'm the only, I would say, dark horse or the black sheep who took up the private sector. So I think that's it. And thank you very much. I think it's been a lovely speaking to you, and a really emotional day for me. And I want to end up with my homages to Jai Chamarajendra Wadeya. Today I learned how the Jaya was added. To you, Raja's family, and I think I really, on behalf of all of us, our respects to him, because but for him, we wouldn't have been here. So many things have happened only because of him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Uday. It was indeed emotional to watch the 2.5 videos, the mighty warriors of India, the masters of the sword, the frontliners of the war, and we could understand the difficult terrain that these lancers fought against all odds, and thanks to the powerful horses, when we could hear the beat of the powerful hoofs, it was entirely a different emotion, like watching a movie where we missed seeing that in real. It was something very, very touching and very powerful. Then it was also emotional as brought into notice the happenings of the last year and how you told us about the journey that we have embarked in the last 2 years. It was also emotional to be purview to the handwritten letter by the queen of the great grandfather, and who became a widow at a very young age, and it will be a tough time in those days to look after an extended family. And definitely, we are all very much touched with your connection with your grandmother. Since you heard stories from her, I only hope you'll be able to document, and we will be able to bring out the book with all these memories. We were also touched to see the letter from the Viceroy of India and the Queen's message in Marathi, and a memo from the Mysore Maharaja of his sympathy to your great grandmother, and the role of honor of 1918 from King George. So let's keep the martyrs' memory alive, and in the first place, document and bring out either a coffee table book or a small book at least, a stamp list, or to ensure the information of these martyred lancers is finds a place in the textbooks of at least primary school students. I would like to thank the behind the scene, the martyrs family. Thank you to Anupama Singh, Praveen Mane, Anil Urs, besides the constant support and inspiration of Sri Raja Chandra sir, and then our ADGP Bhaskar Rao, who's I always say that he's very, very enthusiastic, who always says no and has time whenever either Uday or somebody or Raja Chandra gives a ring to him, he's always there to put in a word. So with these few words, we come to the end of the program. And now I will just read out the compliments and the questions which have come from some of the viewers. So the compliments start with salute the brave hearts, salute to the soldiers. And I'm very happy to say that Ali of Phelps Gardner Beagle, whose great grandfather was another big contributor to Bengaluru's beautification and horticulture. She says, with you from UK. So thank you so much, Alia, for your list and adding merit to our program today. So there is another comment saying historical relevance and glorious past of Mysore Lancers. There is a question to Mr. Bhaskar Rao, who from one Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singh from Delhi. Is government effort are there to recognize the real heroes of the war?
Not yet. We have only had 3 programs like this. Actually, today evening, Uday had made elaborate preparations to invite 2 ministers, but because of the pandemic, we have postponed this. Probably on another time, on another occasion, we will be inviting the government and really highlighting all this, because government is not aware of this whole thing. There is nothing like Haifa Day on the document of the government, as far as I know.
Another question from Dr. Sanjeev Kumar again, whether any attempt is made to collect the arm and armor of Mysore Lancers who fought the war. If yes, where is it displayed? Over to you, Mr. Bhaskar Rao, sir.
Actually, this is very, very scattered. Only for the last 3 years, we have been meeting and paying our homage at the memorial. And today we wanted to have a bigger function, but as I told you, it did not take place. But by and by, it will start. But in Delhi, a lot of efforts have started taking place. Here at my own private level, I've been motivating some film producers to bring out a movie on the heroic deeds, like what Uday showed us, the show created by the Jodhpur Lancers. Because I personally know Brigadier Jodha very well, who is the great grandson of Dalpat Singh. He has made a lot of efforts and he has brought out a book also. We are more number of them. There at least it is only one family. So I'm sure if all of us get together by next year, and the kind of information Shri Raja Chandra ji also has, I'm sure a very interesting monograph can be prepared on the Mysore Lancers, and it will be very, very informative for future also. And even within Mysore, where the mounted company is located, if government is willing and the government is in a real good mood to do something commemorative, The entire Mysore Lancers heroic uh, action can be converted into a light and sound show, because we have a very beautiful mounted company campus located there, where the Mysore Palace Band also is located. But on few occasions, we have had the Mysore Lancers play Carnatic music, and for the first time outside the Mysore Palace Band, the Karnataka State Industrial Security played the Kayoshri Gauri today. We have to perfect it a little more, and it is in our hands to preserve this heritage. And if we neglect and let it go, it is our own folly. And I'm really delighted that Uday showed us certain very valuable things, and how his grandmother and his ancestors have preserved it. A lot of us may not have preserved it, but I too share Uday's emotions, and I also became very emotional seeing the wonderful English in which the Queen has expressed her condolences, and how it was translated in from how into Marathi, and how the King also, despite the Mysore Maharaja, despite losing so many soldiers, he still chose to write a letter to the bereaved families. All these are lessons in leadership for modern people like us, who only send an SMS, my condolences. We don't express ourselves. In fact, if we don't even know how to express a proper language, look at the beautiful words. Means such words are very difficult to carve out also. That was the level of their mastery over the subject, the language, that they used such careful words which were extremely apt. And for a moment, after reading that, you are filled with pride. Though I may have lost a kith and kin, but the king or the chief is with me at this moment of the grief, and I'm, at least to that extent, the grief gets reduced also. This is such a great lesson. Reading that itself makes us emotional, and it's a huge lesson in leadership also.
Thank you so much, sir. It is very appropriate what you said, that a few genuine words written in simple language has a better bearing on the bereaved family rather than an SMS. These are certain things, small things that go a long way. And you have reiterated we should go back to those times when letter writing was a pleasure. And more strength and power to you, sir, for hoping that you will be able to implement all those that you have had as dreams. And we are all there behind you to support through and through. Anytime, we are always there. If you say, we are there to support you. There
Thank you.
is one remark from Dr. S.P. Padma Prasad from Tumkur, past bravery of the cavalry brought back to memory. Then Chandra Vijayan says, thank you so much, Sri Bhaskar Rao sir, on the war history at Haifa, and looking forward to see the paintings of Mysore Lancers. Geeta ji, not only in colleges, we people would also like to see it as an exhibition. So we can have a general exhibition. Then there is from one Ravi Shankar
No, one
Srinivas.
second, madam. 1 second, ma'am. I would like to tell our friend from Tumkur that the Maharaja created, along with Lord Kabban, the Kunigal stud farm, only to create high quality horses and to breed horses. Today it may be in private enterprise, but that is the original property of the Mysore Maharaja, who created this place. It was like a battle tank manufacturing center. The horse was our battle tank. So that was where.
Thank you so much, sir. Then there is another remark from Dr. Ravi Shankar Srinivasan. Very interesting talk. I wish to know whether they formed part of the Dasara procession yesteryears, while we see so many regiments who took part in the procession. To you,
Yeah,
Raja Chandra sir, can you answer this?
yeah, they were very much part of the Dasara procession. There's no doubt about that. As Bhaskar said, even the band was part of the regiment. Because there was, Mysore band was a legend. As a matter of fact, one of my friends, Deepthi Navratna, is been doing a lot 1 year with. I introduced them, and she's doing a lot of research on their contribution as well. Hopefully, sooner when a book may come out of that.
The KSRP platoons are a part behind the elephant
Yes, sir.
drawn
Bangalore.
coach.
I think
The elephant.
KSRP, we have been doing a little more research on that subject. Uh, so hopefully that we will be able to do some justice to it sooner than later.
And as Bhaskar Rao sir said, that he would like to make a museum of the band instruments. So I
Yes, it
think
will be
that is
ideal. No, as a matter
yeah.
of fact, the commissioner's office, if Bhaskar Rao wants it, A new commissioner office has been built. The old band house should be vacated and made into a museum. It is my humble suggestion.
And I'm also told that there is an original lands in the Karnataka Reserve Police premises. I think all that wherever it is scattered, that can be brought and made as a museum for the general public to understand what war history and war armaments and what war transport mechanisms were all about. There is Vukkam Satyanarayana Murthy says it was nice to know about the century-old Battle of Haifa, which is historically important, signifying the victory of Mysore lancers during the war. Sri Bhaskarrao has given a wonderful brief about the historic battle and the background, and we have a crisp understanding of Mysore military history. Hope there is good documentation on this, and the war history will have positive impact on the society. Interested to see the paintings which he was mentioning about, and Sri Raja Chandra also nicely exposition on his subject too. Then we have from Praveen Mane, Raja sir, great insight into the history of Mysore Lancers. Anupama Ravinder Singh, who says, we have learned so much of interesting history thanks to Sri Raja Chandra sir and all the other speakers. Then, as always, Geeta ji wonderfully organized, because I always have some people who are my who always give me a boost. And Sanjeev Kumar Singh says, good, gracious moderation. Chandra Vijaya says, thank you so much, Raja Chandra sir, on briefing the royal connection with World War One. Very interesting talk. Then from Sadananda Rajesh Aras, who says, love to listen to your speech again and again, Raja Chandra sir. Then from Vukkam Satyanarayana Murthy, interesting to note from Sri Raja Chandra's narration about the association that the royal family had in this historic event and how Maharaja was passionate about horses. Glad that the soldiers are remembered by Teen Murthy in the Teen Murthy Memorial. Dr. Nagara Sharma from Bengaluru says, as a student and a researcher of history, I am happy to say that this program has offered me a lot of information and delighted me as well. Thank you all speakers in general and destination heritage in particular. Thank you, Dr. Nagara Sharma, for those very comforting words. Makes our evening well worth it. Anupama Ravinder Singh, who says, we have to thank our immensely popular Bhaskar Rao sir and Sri Raja Chandra sir for being the guiding force for today's event. So I also cite that and give it a big tick. Then Vukkam Satyanarayana Murthy says, the pics or the paintings and a beautiful write-up shown by Sri Uday Barji with wonderful narration are interesting and informative. Dr. Nagara Sharma says, not that is not Sir MV's signature. So when you asked Mr. Uday whose signature it is, so he clarified because he is an antique collector who has got, I think, rooms of antiquities collected and placed there. No, that is not Sir MV's signature. I am having a copy of his signature with me. His signature is just MV.
Oh.
So from Vukkam Satyanarayana Murthy, who says, congratulations, Dr. Geeta, for organizing such nice programs, having high informative and educative value. Thank you so much, Vukkam ji. Arun Kumar, who says, a run guide, a great historical narrative. Then there is our Padma Shri, yes, Sharada. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing this platform. She says it's a very interesting talk. And Anupama, who always says, as always, Dr. Geeta ji's wonderfully organized talk. Uday sir, namaskara. Then there is Sneha Priya Yanappa, a young advocate, who says, thank you so much for this talk. Very wonderfully spoken by all the speakers. But I have one question. So she says, do you think technology has taken over our historic past? With the advent of technology, how else do you think our rich history can be brought closer to the people? This is for you, Mr. Uday.
I think the example Bhaskar Rao sir gave, the letter written by the Queen vis-a-vis today, martyrs' letters. You send a SMS or a WhatsApp message, that itself is an answer. So no doubt technology has taken over, but I think it's our, we as contributors to this historical restoration, we must ensure technology is used to bring up that emotion, to maintain that, to remove that pride. That's all I can say. But no doubt it has taken over.
And we can also
For the good and the bad, both.
And we can also have virtual heritage walks and virtual seeing of the monuments. And who knows, even these paintings can also have a virtual deco. So, on this note, I thank our esteemed speakers, Raja Chandra sir, Mr.
Thank
Uday,
you.
and our IPS officer, top cop ADGP Sri Bhaskar Rao, for this wonderful insight into what war history is. Who are the war heroes? How did they fight? The memories associated, so that bringing back a slice of history right in front of us for we people who are the post independence, who have never remembered seeing a war, maybe except in the 1969 or 71 or 72, but not a war on this large scale like the World War One and Two. It was a wonderful exposition of your thoughts, of your emotions, and your association with whatever you have been with, say for example, either the royal family or with as a descendant, or as our ADGP sir Bhaskar Rao, whose enthusiasm is really very infectious. On this note, I take leave of all our viewers for kindly giving us their time on this special day, which is brought in at the last moment, and making this a grand success. So thank you,
Thank
speakers,
you.
and thank you, viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.